welcome everybody. This is a new type of Save Reunion for us. We have never hosted a virtual Save Reunion, so thank you for your patience. And we are so excited to get to come together today to celebrate this. So thank you all for being here. Are we recording? Perfect. So today's October 9th, which is the 1 year anniversary of the cardiac arrest of baby Jack. And he was about 7 weeks old. Is that right, Mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
7 weeks old. It was late at night, a little after 11, when his family noticed that he was not breathing in their home, and 911 was called. And in this Save Reunion, what we like to do is introduce you to the different factors, the different people who are part of your chain of survival, or Jack's chain of survival. And that starts with the 911 call. So you recognize that Jack isn't breathing, he's not responding appropriately, and the family calls 911. And this was the voice without a face, so now you have a face to that voice.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say y'all did a great job on the call. Y'all were calm, listened to instructions. My hat's off to y'all. But you know, receiving the call and getting his age, and just it was.
I'll say whenever when that moment happened, we before Jack was born, a couple weeks beforehand, we decided to take infant CPR. Hoping you didn't have to do it. It was, we better make sure we did it. But even in that moment, I can't explain to you just the shock being there, and your voice. I mean, it helped so much. I can't begin to describe, your direction, kind of just able me to like function. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Oh, good. No, thank you. I mean, y'all did great.
Thank you. It just feels like a blur to me now, really. I was in such shock, and I don't know that I was that calm. Thomas was the one that actually administered the CPR.
Yes.
And you definitely
I would have
so much.
I really would have been lost without, even taking that class. It's one of those things I've told people, all my friends that are having kids now, I said, take it, but make sure you look it up, refresh yourself.
Just as soon as the 911 call comes in, we begin to assign those apparatus that are responding to you. And so that day, you had South Montgomery County Fire Department and Montgomery County Hospital District responding to you, and you weren't terribly far away. It was a very quick response.
Yes.
And they all got there just about the same time, just within a couple minutes of each other. And so I'm going to introduce to you the firefighters of South Montgomery County Fire Department.
I was riding as the officer on Engine 11-6. I think we showed up just before MCHD, so we did have a few minutes, or about a minute or two before the ambulance was able to get there. And I think at the time, you guys were performing CPR and handed it off to some of our personnel, which we went ahead and continued that care and kind of tried to help keep the ball rolling and keep that survivability rate up until the point that the ambulance did arrive, and then we could go ahead and start initiating. I think we, if I'm not mistaken, they're probably about a minute or two behind us, but they kind of helped to initiate the higher level of care. But hats off to the guys right in the back. They were a little more instrumental as far as providing that care whenever we did get there. So hats off to those guys.
This is the call. We hope the baby was, spit up formula or something like that, and maybe turned a little blue, and everything's okay. But you walk in the room and Dad's doing CPR, and that's when it hits you that this is the real deal. And it's game time. It's time to do what we do best, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing outcome. Very interesting case from what I've heard from Scott. And we all worked solid as a team. I don't think it could have been any better.
No. You're angels.
So Scott is one of our district chiefs, and he, unfortunately, I think he ends up on a lot of these calls just by being a chief, but he's had a lot of really good outcomes, which is fantastic. We get to celebrate a lot of these happy occasions with Scott, with Chief Sanders.
Hi guys.
Hey, Scott.
Looks amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
You're doing really great.
I love it. Yeah, so I usually show up a little later than everybody else, and I remember getting there, and I remember checking on the crew, making sure there wasn't anything that they needed, and at that point, my attention turns to y'all. I want to make sure that y'all have what y'all need at that. If there's anything I can do to help you guys. I remember keeping y'all updated on what was going on. I remember it being very brutally honest and telling you that right now your son didn't have a pulse and he wasn't breathing on his own. But then I also remember shortly after that being able to give you the amazing news that he's now has a pulse and he's breathing on his own. I remember the reason why I was able to stay up so up to date is, I don't know if you know this or not, but when I asked you if there was somebody I could go get, I went to your next door, and I actually went to high school with her. And
Yes.
it was kind of interesting when I knocked on the door and the guy answered, and the next thing I know, I hear her behind her saying, "Scott, is that you?" And I was like, "Oh, hello." Hey.
Yeah.
So she was great to pass me along the updates and with the Facebook page and stuff like that, and that's what I forwarded to these guys. I knew as soon as it happened, after we got to the hospital, just that unsure feeling that everybody always has is, I mean, we got into the hospital with a good outcome, and we wanted that to continue, and being able to deliver that news and was just amazing to keep up with his progress and see how well he's doing now. And I mean, Ashton probably said it best, that it took all of us at this, including y'all. I mean, he wouldn't be here today if y'all hadn't done what y'all did that night. And that's awesome. That's amazing to see y'all like this today. So
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Basically, they asked me, what do I remember? I remember quite a lot. I remember getting on scene. I remember seeing Mom outside, really anxious, and typically, that gives us a pretty good idea that something serious is going on. And we get inside, and I see Dad doing CPR, and being really happy to see that, because, like Ashton says, it makes all the difference. And then just being able, to get pulses back and get him to the hospital and hearing about his recovery was just so amazing. So it's definitely one of those calls that stuck, and I've been thinking about him for the past year. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So when I spoke with Adam earlier today, he talked about, he's like, gosh, I've just been thinking about baby Jack for the last year. So Adam, what were your thoughts about this call?
It was pretty nerve-wracking, being a dad myself. I mean, like you said, we run CPRs all the time, and even some children, but seeing a baby leather like that, I mean, we all kind of, not really froze up, but it kind of took us away for a second, and just wanted to do all I could to help. And when it was a good outcome, of course, we talked to Scott after the CPR. I think daily Nathan actually was in constant communications, because we were worried. I mean, we couldn't even sleep the rest of the night. I mean, it was one of those things that it's one of the ones that stick with you, like you said. But when we found out he was okay, it was just such a big relief. And ever since then, of course, you always worry about him, how he's doing. And to see him today is it's a good feeling. That's why we do what we do.
So much.
Thank you so much.
What about you, Nathan? What do you remember about this call?
I remember, like you said, it's kind of a rare call, so I remember quite a lot about that call, actually. Like Adam said, it was one that shook us a little bit, and so we tend to hold on to those, especially us that are that are parents, which most of us on the truck that night were or are. So I was the one that actually had the fortune of being in contact with Scott, and I was getting info from Scott about his recovery. And so the main thing I remember is, like Adam said, the worry, but then Scott was giving us the good news. And I remember all of us kind of were sitting around the table one day, and Scott had messaged me, and basically said that the doctor said he was going to make a full recovery, and there was that quiet celebration amongst all of us. So it was definitely it's definitely one for the book, but you can't have a better outcome than this. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
And Jeremy, you I would say on the crew, are you the newest to the team?
Yeah, at the time, yes, I was.
Yeah. So at that point in your career, how many cardiac arrests have you run?
I've ran a couple, but definitely a lot, not like this. One being so young, and it hits home when I have a daughter about the same age as him, and I didn't see him. I saw my daughter there, and it was I had to keep it together, but because we were there to save him, and I'm glad the outcome ended up the way it did. It's one I'll never forget.
Because of you.
You guys all worked a miracle. Made a miracle happen.
We've talked on the phone and we've kind of relived some of these moments. I'm so glad you get to see these faces again. I know you had something prepared that you wanted to read to these folks, so I wanted to give you a moment to share your experience and just whatever you wanted to share with these guys.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna try to get through it. Hopefully it won't be too much of a mess. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, I just wanted to write this down because
we don't want to forget anything.
No, I mean, this is such a huge, important day for us. We literally think of you guys every single day. So I just wanted to make sure that you all know how much you mean to us. It's Jack. Okay, here I go. Gosh, we're off to a great start. Okay, we are so excited and happy to meet you all. Although we have met before, the circumstances of our meeting were not great ones. Today is the anniversary of that day that forever changed our lives, and we can't think of a better way to spend it than with you. We wish we could meet in person to give each one of you a hug, but this still means the world to get to see your faces and tell you thank you today. To talk about what happened 1 year ago is very difficult. The events of that night are still fresh and still haunt us every day. But when the bad memories flood in, so do the good ones. You all are the good memories. Jack's miracle workers, our heroes. If it wasn't for each one of you, Jack wouldn't be here with us now. It was a normal and peaceful night for our family. Our healthy, happy 7-week-old baby was sound asleep, and so were we. When he woke us up with a frightening cry we had never heard before. After grabbing Jack from his crib, he soon went limp in our arms. We were shocked and had no idea what was happening. Panicked, we called 911. While we had taken an infant CPR class when pregnant, we were terrified and frozen in that moment. We are so thankful for the operator who answered our call that night. He calmly coached my husband through CPR, giving him the guidance and courage needed to provide life-saving oxygen to our baby while we waited for help to arrive. We didn't have to wait long. We can't thank the first responders enough for how quickly you got to our home. You relieved us with your bravery and your confidence as you immediately began to work on resuscitating Jack. My husband and I stood in the corner of our living room, still in complete and utter shock. The nightmare got worse when we were told by one of the very kind and gentle responders that our son was not breathing. He did not have a heartbeat. Soon after, in the midst of begging God for our baby, we remember hearing Jack burst out crying. This was the best sound we could have ever heard. You all brought him back to us. Jack is our miracle who fought so hard to get to this world and then fought even harder to stay in it. We tried so hard and so long to have this baby. And we were finally blessed to have him. We can't put into words how it felt to almost lose him. Thank you all for making sure that didn't happen, for guiding us through CPR, for getting to our house within minutes, for your knowledge and experience that allowed you to do your job so accurately and expertly, for getting us to the hospital safely and staying there with us long after you had to, for coordinating plans with our neighbors, and for the support and care you showed to two scared, shocked parents who came way too close to losing the most important thing in their lives. Not long after we arrived at Texas Children's Hospital in the medical center, we learned that Jack had a very rare and very large, but thankfully benign, heart tumor that caused the cardiac arrest that terrible night. In this past year, Jack has undergone 2 heart surgeries to remove the tumor and is now doing amazing. His team of doctors are so pleased with how far he has come and expect a bright, full, and healthy future for Jack. Each night, when we tuck our son into bed, we talk to Jesus with him and thank God for each one of you. When we feel Jack's beautiful heart beating beneath his scars, we are overcome with gratitude for the gifts that you have given to us. Thank you for our first Christmas, laughs with Daddy, snuggles with Mommy, a chance to put his toes in the sand and see the ocean, to throw a ball to his dog. Because of you, we get to watch our son run around like a tiny madman. Talk about Dada all day. I'm still waiting to hear about Mama. Chase bubbles, collect leaves, and read all of his beloved books. Thank you for giving him the opportunity to grow up, to live a full life, and this craze must not be very easy. That you make sacrifices in your day-to-day so that you can follow your calling and help those in need. We believe that you are the true heroes of the world and feel so honored that each one of you is a part of Jack's incredible story. Thank you for saving our baby's life. You saved ours as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was hard.
I just want to say, with Jack, I mean, it's been he's had quite the road. When we got to the hospital, we found out about the tumor, and obviously that it was benign, and you know, we had hope, but the type of tumor that Jack had is a fibroma tumor, which is very, very rare. And based off the positioning of it, they didn't know. When we got there, they weren't sure what could be done. And thankfully, Dr. McKenzie at Texas Children's decided to take a chance on Jack and perform the surgery. And he thought it would be best to get it out, as Jack was, at the time, from everything we've heard, Jack is the youngest to ever be operated on for this tumor. They usually try to wait till at least 8 months or so before they do it. And so Jack at 7 weeks old was, I can only imagine how small, you know, his heart was to do this surgery, and he's climbing all over the place. So that's kind of Jack's story, and we did we had the initial surgery, and everything seemed to be good. The outlook was good for Jack. We came home, and life kind of didn't go to normal, but it was slowly, you know, we were slowly getting back to normal, trying to feel comfortable, you know, because we were just always on edge. After the initial surgery, Dr. McKenzie estimated that he got 94% of the tumor out. So there was always the chance, you know, that there was something left, and it could cause Jack to do the same thing. He's been on heart medication since, and since he had the surgery, he's been on heart medication. But anyway, so he was good, and as we got to February, he started having showing some extra beats on take-home monitors that they would put on him, and those beats slowly started to get more frequent, and then he started
turning into
he started having
VTAC.
VT in March, and you know, we spent a few nights, you know, sitting up waiting, you know, worried that the same thing was going to happen again, and on scans they couldn't see what was going on, so they decided that we initially went into for the second surgery to have a IED put in him. ICD. And yeah, so we went in to have that surgery, but when they touched his heart before doing it, they felt more tumor and went in, and after this one, they've gotten everything visible out, and Jack has been fantastic since. So these tumors don't grow, but the thought was that since Jack was so young at the initial surgery, that, you know, it wasn't done growing, and now everything seems really, really good for Jack, which is just, you know, it's been a roller coaster of a year for him, but he's, you know, it's so good to see him doing so well, and he's definitely got a lot of things going his way for him right now.
I'm glad to hear the road to recovery is kind of making its way to that positive outlook that you guys are talking about. Glad to see that you guys are in good spirits. Glad to see Jack's in good spirits.
There he is. Come say hi.
You guys, the best of luck, the best of health to Jack, and hopefully we'll be able to get to see him in the future.
I hope
we hope so too. I mean, there's nothing more we'd like to do than to get together with you guys and let Jack meet you as well.
Yeah, y'all are truly his heroes, and we just thank you guys so much. I mean, we can never thank you enough, but we just hope you know that y'all mean so much to us and to Jack. Thank you for everything you did.
Thank you for sharing this moment with us. I don't even think I have words to follow up with everything you've said. So I just want to say how proud I am on behalf of Montgomery County Hospital District, how proud we are of these firefighters and these medics, our dispatchers. I mean, it's what we train for, but like Sean said, it's something that we always hope we never have to do, and everything lined up well. Your chain of survival lined up well, and we have Jack here today on the 1 anniversary to celebrate. And just, my heart is so happy.
Ours too. This means the world to us.
It's so amazing to get to see you guys. It's, you know, that night, you know, you kind of go back and you try to, it's such a blur. So to be, you know, I remember you guys, but faces, you know, it's, you know, I was scared. Like if I walked past you in a grocery store, you know, would I know to be like, oh, hi, you know? So it's so nice to get to see you, and hopefully I do end up seeing you in the grocery store.
I think the last time you saw Thomas, he was wearing a shirt that said, "My wife is psychotic." He was.
Yeah, it was, you know, that
so this is a better look today.
That was kind of, you know, I bought that shirt as a joke, and we were sitting down, you know, we're at Texas Children's, you know, it's noon the next day.
He's like, I probably should change my shirt.
I said, I think I better change my shirt. But yeah, no, it's the chain of events that happened. I mean, you guys responded so quickly, and it's just hard. The whole thing is just a miracle. You take one link out of the chain, and I don't think it works the way it did. And it's so powerful. It obviously is. This whole event has drastically changed our lives. I was always, you know, a man of faith, but it's brought me that much closer to faith. And just it gives you an appreciation. You know, you say you have an appreciation for all the people that do amazing things in this world, but you know, when you go through something like that, I mean, it multiplies it. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing doing what you do. I mean, you know, I think about what I do for a living, and it's just like, you know, you guys have such an impact on this world with what you do in people's lives. You save them and make miracles happen. So thank you.
So in the traditional Save Reunion, I would normally have a plaque to present each one of these responders, and they will still get those, just not in the normal way that we've done it. But we also have a plaque for you and your family. And one day when we get together for that hug, we'll get together and take a picture.
Love that.
Yeah.
They will have all of their names on it, everybody who is present, and just so, not that you could ever forget, but just so you have a reminder of these wonderful people who met you a year ago today and are back here celebrating baby Jack.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you all. Jack, you gotta say bye. Say bye to all your friends. Can you wave?
You wave? Oh.
It's so nice to see you all.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be in touch for sure.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
so much.
Bye, Jack.
Bye.
Yay! You made it!
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, Jack.
Bye.
Mwah.